have to lose a little weight.
I'm going to pull this up for Mark to sign stuff.
How are you?
Actually, you know what, Mark? I'm going to leave you on the end here,
Okay.
so as the stuff comes down.
All right.
No, you didn't get names today because this, your wife asked me, do we bother, because it's this in the budget review, and I didn't have to bother. Don't.
Will there be any opportunity to address the board before you move on to the bond?
I don't know, it depends on how I feel a little later on.
Okay.
I'll give it some thought though.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
What is for sure.
That's it in the manifest, right?
Yes.
Karen, is everybody here?
Yes.
Okay, good. Not quite 7, but I'm going to call the meeting to order October 22nd, and I will start, yes.
I already turned it on.
Oh, okay. Start with a roll call from my right.
Justin Duraki.
Ron Morgan.
Jim Ralston. Chip Buzzy.
And Paul Sanderson is absent. And the meeting is being recorded. So the first item on the agenda is under appointments. Karen?
That is the bond closing. Renella's not here. She has sent me the directions and all the paperwork.
She has?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Has everybody read the paperwork?
So right now.
Yeah, and it's the same as that was issued to the selectmen last week.
Okay. I'll give you time to read it if you like, or I'll ask for a motion.
The first motion should be for the resolution of the governing board. The undersigned, at least a majority of the governing board of the issuer and the treasurer of the issuer, Mark is here for the treasurer, hereby certify that at a meeting of the governing board of the issuer was held with respect to the issuance of the bond defined below, that notice of said meeting was afforded to said officers and the public in accordance with RSA 91A as amended, and the applicable rules and bylaws of the issuer, if any, that at least a majority of the governing board were present throughout said meeting, that the following votes were adopted at said meeting, all as being in the best interest of the issuer, and that the resolutions set forth below have not been repealed, amended, or rescinded as of the date herein. Voted to authorize the issuance of $2.9 million general obligation bonds, which were heretofore authorized by the issuer on March 13th, 2018. Such bonds to be dated October 26, 2018. To sell said bonds to the purchaser with the principal amounts, maturities, premium, if any, redemption provisions, if any, and interest rates specified on Schedule A attached hereto and made part of. The purchaser is Optima Bank. Voted to issue the bonds in substantially the form set forth in Schedule B attached hereto and made a part of. To authorize at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer to sign the bonds or to have said signatures printed in fax on the bonds and to affix the issuer's seal thereto. Voted to authorize the treasurer to deliver the bonds to the purchaser against payment therefor. Voted to authorize at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer to execute and deliver a no litigation certificate with receipt, a no arbitrage and tax certificate in IRS Form 803G in substantially the form presented to this meeting, and such other documents as being necessary or appropriate to accomplish the sale and delivery of the bonds in accordance with the foregoing. Voted to authorize the issuer to act as its own paying agent with respect to the bonds.
Okay, do all the board members understand this and
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay, then I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I have an opportunity to speak?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to make a few comments before the board makes a vote. I've brought
Let me just do this. Let me
Sure.
ask for a motion in a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion, okay?
Thank you. Okay.
So I'll ask for a motion.
I move that we authorize the bond.
That's not the motion he's asking for. I'm asking for an opportunity to speak to you.
No, I understand.
No, he needs a motion in a second.
And I'll
then
second
we'll
that.
begin the Conversation.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
A second.
A second, okay. Any discussion? Mark?
Yes. As you know, I've been attending some of these meetings over the last several weeks or so. And I'm becoming very concerned because I'm hearing language coming from both boards, the selectmen as well as the planning board, supporting the concerns of the community. And yet here we sit talking about approving a bond where some members here have already said they wouldn't do so unless certain criteria were met. So let me just, if I may, very quickly read what I prepared, and I'd like you to have an opportunity to read.
Go ahead.
Yep.
May I have one for the file?
Of course you can.
That's why I was giving it up.
Right.
Well, I'm a longtime user and supporter of the library. I've followed and studied the plans with interest as they were published and changed, but I was and still am concerned about the size of the site, the lack of parking, the septic design and placement, and outstanding legal issues. I voted yes in March, expecting that the planning board and the Board of Selectmen would exercise due diligence to ensure that the final design and construction met safety and environmental regulations, provided adequate access for the patrons, and would be good and prudent use of the town money. Since the vote in March, a number of issues have continued to arise, which have made me more apprehensive and concerned that this project will be completed with the best interest of the town in mind. For instance, the attitude of the planning board and select board members that this is what the people voted for without seeming to accept that they should be exercising oversight and fiscal responsibility. I've heard from a number of people who, like myself, voted for the bond, but expected that the prudent oversight would be exercised by town leaders to ensure the best possible project. I heard from many people who voted for the bond, even though the site was not adequate. The attitude of the architect and library trustees that we will work out the problems as we go along. Keep in mind, we're talking about a $3 million project versus having a completed plan, which has not yet been submitted, that addresses the serious issues before the work is begun. I'm concerned about the issues such as the septic design and the water runoff. Once resolved, could end up costing much more than estimated, which might impact final design if cost-cutting becomes necessary. I have concerns about the fire and safety issues to be fully addressed and resolved. as you, the select person, mentioned in your last meeting. Concerns about other issues such as exterior lighting seems to not have been addressed at all. Concerns that compliance with state regulations has already been withered away in some parking places out front, which should not even surprise anyone. I have the impression that the Greenland Congregational Church, while being looped in on some shared issues, have not been part of the larger discussion regarding all the challenges that will be sure to be faced the two entities that will coexist in close proximity. I do expect that the new improved library will be constructed on the existing site, but I respectfully ask, one, that the planning board perform their function of review and recommendation, that the selectmen, before signing off on the bond, insist that the legal issues be resolved, fire and safety issues be resolved, plans be completed and submitted to the planning board, and also available to our building inspector to have a building permit issued, a construction manager be identified, and that the board will actively participate in the bid and solicitation process. The issues that I'm talked about have been talked about in two large, one public meeting up in the pool, where I was led to believe that there would be another meeting before we would even be discussing about the bond, and I specifically stood up and asked that question, and yet here we stand. And I was at the last meeting where again, there was no public comment, but I heard you talk, Chip, about fire and safety. And yet there's a letter pending from each department very concerned about this existing project. And we are talking about approving $3 billion. There's a $600,000 amount of money today sitting in the bank that's very adequate for any startup costs that the library trustees may want to spend in order to keep some momentum on the project. But I beseech you, do not approve the bond tonight. Vote no. Delay the process. Do it according to the plan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Any other comments? Yes.
John Panaccio, is there any reason why that, by the way, I agree exactly with what he said. There's no way that bond should be signed tonight until all the issues are resolved, because once you sign that bond, you've committed to that money, and that money is sitting in the town, we're paying for it, we're paying interest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there any reason why we need to do that bond tonight?
Where are the interest rates going to go if we don't sign this bond? Can you guarantee it's going to be the same amount
No,
of money?
no.
To me, this bond doesn't guarantee a building permit. It doesn't guarantee anything except the money transaction.
The money
A
transaction?
financial deal,
The money transaction for what? You're committing the town.
which the town voted for. So listen, there's no prepayment penalty. The project goes down the toilet tomorrow. We pay the money back,
Let
it's
me
done.
finish my question. Is there any reason, any penalty if we don't do that bond tonight?
Is there a penalty? No, there's
Is there
not.
any reason why it can't be delayed? With the current interest rate?
With the current interest rate, yes, it's going to change.
Of course.
The interest rate has already gone up, but they guaranteed it for us through the end of the month.
Through the end of the month.
Through the end of the month.
Right. Which is 3 more days. Well,
That's fine. And you would have,
Hold it, wait a minute. Are you, anything else you want to say, John?
No, I mean, one of the things, I mean, I agree. So my question is there any particular reason, a penalty, why we need to sign that tonight? If there's a substantial financial impact, then maybe, okay? So I think that's important that be divulged, why we're signing that if tonight.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Marcia McLaughlin, 47 Nantucket Place. We were supposed to have met on the 15th of this month, I believe it was. I don't remember the exact date. Our meeting has been deferred with the planning board. I believe we were going to meet with them prior to this.
yeah, the 18th.
We were deferred on our meeting with the planning board. We were unable to meet with them and review where we are in this project. We are working with the planning board, The library trustees are working with the planning board, with these selectmen. We are working with the fire department and the police department to address and take care of any issues that have been brought up. This has been a very protracted, drawn-out process, and I would ask that the selectmen go ahead. The project is going to go ahead. With what modifications, we don't know at this point in time, but there will probably be some things that are made. We just will not know as the project goes forward. And part of the reason we don't have the drawings complete is the extended time period that we've had to answer questions to various entities in the community.
Okay, yes.
Hi, Dane Peters, 21 Cushman Way. I am a member of the building committee on this project. And you were here last Monday.
Yes, I was.
And I think the decisions that were being made were in favor of safety and making sure that things were going to be done the proper way. And the last thing that the building committee would want is to put up a structure or a facility that was not safe, because there are going to be children, there are going to be adults. There's no way that that is going to happen. So it's not like, it's not like we, from the board, the library board, and the building committee, and the board of selectmen are trying to push through something that's not appropriate, it's not safe. And as Marcia just stated, we're trying to work together to make sure that this process is done properly and that we're going to put up a safe structure.
Thank you.
The issuance of a building permit.
Excuse me?
A building permit cannot be issued unless the plans are submitted and meet all of New Hampshire State Building Code. The selectmen still have the control over disbursement of the bond.
Okay. Any other comments? Any from the board?
I guess for the record, I don't see signing this bond as a green light to build the building. I see it two totally different things. I honestly do. So
That's right, I respectfully disagree with you.
that's okay.
I think that by signing the bond, we give tacit permission to folks, I understand, but it just will accelerate the pace. And very frankly, Mr. Peters pointed out, there are a lot of outstanding issues. The
I'm aware of
fire
every issue,
department,
believe
as
me.
well as the police department, have submitted letters of concern.
I have the letters right in my briefcase.
I haven't seen them. I understand they've been submitted. We have a planning board that has a long list of things, some of which
I understand
are
all of
immaterial.
it. I do.
Okay, but
It still doesn't make me see that the bond gives a green light to build it.
if-
They can't even spend the money until this board disperses the funds.
the fact of the
So
matter is,
can you, how does that happen? How does signing the bond equal a green light to building tomorrow
my feeling is that
without a building permit?
both boards will work harder and faster to reach an agreement with the bond outstanding.
I disagree with that.
The planning board knowing that if they have not completed their portion of it, the bond still hasn't been issued. The
Okay.
select people need to receive it and see what their concerns are and then make that decision. That puts a weight on both boards to work at the most, the focused pace. However, by signing it, we can have things slip by. We can have, why do we bother? It's a done deal.
What's gonna slip by,
It should not be
sir?
considered a done deal until we have really done much better work.
Okay. All right.
I have
It's a $3 million project.
just
Okay,
one more
Marcia, go ahead.
comment, Vaughn, and that is, excuse me again, Marcia McLaughlin. Vaughn, Mark, you have to understand, because of all of the delays that we have had since March, we will not even begin to be able to break ground until April, which means we have 5 months to iron out anything additional before there is any construction begun. And that's going to give us plenty of time to work out any of the concerns. that
Okay,
there are.
all right, this is good, all right. I think everybody is expounded on what their feelings are and everything else. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Just that, I feel that the prices are gonna go up on this. The interest rate, we have no idea of knowing where it's gonna go, but the way it's looking, it's gonna be going up. And I think it's just prudent to go ahead, sign the bond. We're not dispersing the money until these things are ironed out. We're not gonna be able to break ground until April now anyway.
Okay, Chip, anything you'd like to say?
Can I just add one thing, please? You will be paying the interest on the bond.
Well, I know that,
All right, just.
but we
just
won't
leave
be,
it at that.
we won't be paying a higher interest. that's
No,
fine.
but in the event, I don't know how likely or unlikely the library is, but if the chance is that it's not gonna happen, for whatever reason, okay, I don't know what those reasons would be, that money is gonna be spent, whether it's higher interest rates or not. So just keep that in mind when you vote. I mean, I'm indifferent, to be honest with you. I think the issues need to be solved, but just, there's a financial impact on this, whether the interest rates go up or not. So but it has to be sure that this library is gonna be built. If it's not, it's gonna cost you money. Yeah, there's no prepayment penalty, but it is cost. There is a cost involved in this. Okay, just remember that.
Okay, and I've mentioned in the past also that there are safety issues that not only concern me, but they concern the building inspector, the police department, the fire department, the planning board, a lot of departments, which cloud this project. And I've made clear on several occasions publicly that until these issues are vetted, I would not move forward with this project. And this is the reason I am not going to vote to sign this bond. So that being said, does anybody else have anything else they'd like to discuss? All right, I've got a motion and I've got a second. All in favor? And I oppose. So the motion passes. Okay, we need to move on to
Sheets to sign and then the treasurer.
budget.
That's your prerogative.
Thank you.
No, don't sign on the treasurer's line. That's for Mark.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. She pointed, that's why I didn't get it.
I think you three just joined the army.
No, bought a house. And all I need is one selection to sign these three.
You go Vaughn, you can go to jail with them.
There's what?
Those are the IRS stuff.
What is this?
That's the
It's
IRS
just the
form.
1099 for the IRS. Anyone else can sign it too. You don't have to sign it. And actually pass them down to the treasurer, he can sign it.
Looks like it.
He can sign it too?
Sure.
Just keep breathing that way.
Okay. I'm feeling much better today than I have been, so something.
You want to bring that up?
At the conclusion of the meeting,
Okay.
or, because it's just we
Let's just come
need,
in. Actually,
Yeah, we
let
can
me
do
do that
that.
right now.
based on the discussion that was held in the non-public session last week, for the settlement of an insurance claim, the request that the selectmen made from the engineer was approved. That letter is the indication of the guarantee of that 50% of in-kind services. Just if we can apply it to our next engineering bill.
Okay.
So we have a manifest for the settlement amount.
I move we hereby approve the attached manifest unpaid bills detailed as of October 22nd, 2018, the amount of $14,323.29.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Did you want to mention something about this?
What I handed out to the board is just a copy of the calculation that's generally used a lot during the budget process. There's always repetitive questions on how much will that impact the tax rate, if this goes up, this goes down. So I did the calculation out for the board to hold on to throughout the whole budget warrant article process. 1 cent on the tax rate, the impact, what would cause 1 cent increase to the tax rate is $2,550, based on our new valuation of $857,765,400. So to kind of make a comparison, $150,000 is 17 cents, up or down, an increase in revenue or an increase in appropriation.
Okay.
So that's just a reference for you because it gets asked a lot.
Okay. All righty, let's move on to Mr. Marchese.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Do we have copies of this budget he's presenting?
Yes, it's in your budget under building,
Karen,
page 39.
do you want this back with me?
No, you can just keep it for future.
Okay.
The more people I give it to, the less people that will ask me, how much does that impact the tax rate? So building is on page 3940.
So I submitted a letter on September 18th.
Yeah, they have that as well.
In the letter, I, pretty much have a flat budget except for my wages, which I'm asking for an additional 6%. The department as a whole, the building departments, the building boom has kind of burst, and the building department as a whole is slowed down quite a bit. Part of the additional 6% could be a transition of roles or a change in roles, and that I could take on the part-time planning position. I believe that I'm qualified to do that type of work as I've done it before. Currently, the town expends about $17,000 a year for the planner who's here 2 days a month. If I were to take on that role, I would be available to the citizens of Greenland 40 hours a week. I wouldn't have to wait 2 weeks to get questions answered. I think that would be very advantageous for people looking to do subdivisions and so forth in the community. I've worked with many boards in the past. I work with the Zoning Board of Appeals now. I've worked with planning boards in the past as well. I think I could definitely do fulfill that role. If there were questions that did appear that were above my area of expertise, I could always fall back on the Rockingham County Planning Commission, which I understand that we're a part of. And I could get the assistance I need from them. Tim Roach is the current executive director, and he happens to be a good friend of mine. We put in many miles together running, and we had that common interest. And not that that makes much of a difference, he would help us anyway, but it's always nice to know somebody that might be able to give an answer a little bit quicker.
Okay. All right. I'd just like to make mention that, you mentioned that the planning, Mark Fouget is only here twice a month. Actually, he does a lot more for the town than just twice a month. He does a lot behind the scenes. And that needs to be known because he attends Portsmouth planning boards and that type of thing on behalf of the town of Greenville. Okay?
Yeah,
That needs to be
please
known.
understand, I don't mean to knock Mark
Yeah.
Fouget's work. I think he does a great job. He's good for the community.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying that there's an area where I could help the town in addition to what I'm currently doing.
Have you spoken with any of the planning board members about this?
I have not. No.
Okay. Comments?
Something taken into consideration for sure.
Okay.
Just so you understand, I'm talking to the planning board, they're the one that actually hired Mark, not us. So that would have to be their decision if they want to do that.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope. The other thing was secretary to the boards. Currently, Charlotte is not under my budget at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be fair where we share services that at least maybe 50% of her time would put under my budget so that I would have some type of control and calls over what happens with her and I as a team.
All right. Would that be a difficult thing for the bookkeeper, or would that?
No, it wouldn't be a difficult thing for the bookkeeper.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts are protection of her in that one part of my salary was put in another budget, and then that was taken away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to risk that happening to anyone else. If we move some of it to here, that then somehow one side gets cut and the other doesn't. That's my only fear.
Point taken. All right. Very good. All
Very
right.
good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Okay, Karen.
All right, so how do you want to attack? This is the meeting that we really need to start getting like some nitty gritty done.
You
Mm-hmm.
guys got it right back here.
What?
I was right back.
Tara's already done hers.
I'm sorry, did hers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's here to pay attention and
Yeah,
And give us all colds.
it's pneumonia, you can't catch it.
so it's wherever you want to start and
All right.
I can help
Page
you along
one.
the way.
Would you gentlemen like to start? Do you want to go line item by line item, or do you want to just sort of?
I think that'd be the quickest, so we don't miss anything.
Okay.
Usually if there's no change, I don't think there'll be any bite.
Okay. Now, just for the record, we have one more meeting about this after this, right?
Final review, right.
Okay.
Generally, at that meeting, I have the totals for you, so you know how much what the percentages have changed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally up to you if you want to just wait and do all that at the next meeting. But that will be a very long night.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, let's start with general government. Selectman salary and secretary to the boards.
So this is where you have to kind of decide. Right now, these have been put in at 1.5%. well, not the selectmen, but the secretary to the board was put in at 1.5%.
What is the hourly wage for the secretary of the boards right now?
At 1.5%, it would bring it to $18.
No, what is it now?
It was 1831 minus 1%, 1790, high 17.
17 what?
Wish I had that number. I can do the math backwards. Hang on. I can do it right here too. All right, it's currently at, for the year, 37,193. The 1.5% would bring it to 37,751.
Okay, what is the hourly wage right now?
Looks like it's 1788.
Thank you.
It is what?
1788
All right, 17.
currently.
That's the only numbers I didn't like.
No, right, but I just divided by
Thank
20.
you. Take the 1.5 off.
Okay, and the proposed increases to 2036?
That would be my proposal.
What is that percentage?
I'm going to have to
I
bring
mean,
the
is it
computer in.
1.5%?
No, 1.5% is $18.31.
Okay.
Hasn't been very friendly to me, so I ain't punching any buttons right now.
What?
My phone hasn't been very friendly to me.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any questions?
No.
All right, let's move down to town administrator salary.
That has been put in at flat because it's the Board of Selectmen that determine what percentage increase my position gets.
Okay. I have been reading about the cost of living increases. I mean, I go throughout the country, I know that New Hampshire is a little different than other places, but at the same time, we have a lot of increases that are going to be impacting the town right now. We have insurance increases, we have tax increases that, especially, we don't even know what the school's impact is yet, do we? No.
No, they haven't released their budget yet.
Right. So there isn't even an estimate on that, right?
No.
Not that I've seen.
Right. Because I've always believed that when you have people that work hard for this town, you don't want them to fall into the next year taking home less money than they did before. The average, I think the average COLA increase right now is about 2.9. Am I right on that?
That's the
Where'd that-
September.
Yeah, I don't know about COLA, I just look at the CPI.
Right, that's, the CPI for September was 2.9.
Yeah, for the years ending July, it
The
was
COLA is
3%.
based on the last 3 months.
2.8.
Exactly, 3 months, right. And last I read was about 2.9. Have you, Mark, have you?
I read 2.8 for all,
Yeah,
so
2.8.
personnel management.
2.8, okay, all right. So, in my opinion, I don't think that we should go for any less than 2.9 on anybody's increase. That's my opinion. I think that's more than fair, because I still think people are going to be taking home less money after the school budget goes through. To be perfectly honest with you.
Why would the school budget affect what our,
Your property
Secretary.
taxes.
I understand.
Your
the
property
tax-
taxes.
I know they're gonna go up.
Up?
No fooling,
Yeah, right.
but I just,
Yeah.
how does that affect someone's?
Well, the income that doesn't live in Greenland.
Well, you know, I just look at Greenland as I understand what you're saying, but I look at Greenland, I look at the people that work here, and by the time all is said and done, and they've had to pay these property taxes and everything else, you look at what the bottom line is. Does that not make sense? You have to pay property taxes, right?
I pay plenty, I do, I understand how it works. I don't, if somebody doesn't live in Greenland, but I just don't follow your point. I mean, I know what you're saying, but it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, We haven't had,
Doesn't really
we
help
haven't
much
had
water
an
anyway,
increase
that's
as
all
a
right.
selectman for the last 4 years at all.
Well, we don't, I mean, we
I
only.
don't have a problem with 2.9%. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine with 2.9%.
Yeah.
The reason it kind of lost me, got a little vague.
So I just wonder what we've done in the years when there was no COLA at all, which wasn't too long ago. I think we still gave our employees raises. So,
Well, this is my way of thinking. I'm open to your way of thinking. You tell me what you think.
I think that, well, what I think is that everybody should get the same ratio.
Okay. And
Same
what do you think
percentage.
that should be?
I'd be happy around 2.3.
Okay. Chip?
Well, listen, I don't know much about COLA. I watch the CPI all the time, and it's, with the fuel prices, it's going through the roof right now. And they're, as of July, we're 3.74 was the report I saw, and the last couple of months have been crazy. So I don't know.
Well, when the fuel prices dropped like they did a couple of years ago, we didn't take anything away from anybody. I don't know.
I just also know that I see an awful lot of help wanted signs out there, and nobody's applying for the jobs. So you don't want to lose anybody that you don't have to.
No, I agree.
Believe me. You know, my job's up to a $5,000 signing bonus. It's kind of crazy. No, I didn't sign.
So what are your thoughts?
2.9, 3% and around there, I think will be leveling off pretty evenly for the year.
Okay. Chester?
When's the last time a raise was not issued?
Never,
Never.
no. The lowest was a 1.5. And then there was a year that it was, everybody got a little bit different. 2 years ago was 2%, last year was 3%.
Last year was 3%.
Yes, last year was 3%. Because we're falling right, that actually was right within a few points of what the actual index was.
I think that the value of good employees is, you can't replace them. So you gotta keep them. But with that said, I don't like a raise just because the calendar clicked. I mean, that's not how it happens in a lot of the private sector. There's no guaranteed raises every year in a lot of business. So, I mean, I understand cost of living. My wife works for the federal government, so I mean, I understand. I mean, what was given last year, 3?
Right.
I think I like 2.5, if we gotta pick a number. It's kind of.
So right between 2.3 and 3.
So that averages out to about 2.5%. Right?
2.75, split the difference.
Yeah.
Is that enough to keep people happy? And keep the employees here, I mean, that's paramount. I mean, police, fire, dock building, you name it, there's secretaries, truck drivers, there's no help in any industry. So if you have a good employee, we better understand that and do what it takes to keep them.
All right, so the consensus is 2.75? Everybody's happy with that as a base, just to start. We'll go through the different departments, but.
I want to see everybody get the same. That's my personal opinion.
Right, but do you?
Yeah,
Are you comfortable with that number?
I can live with that.
Okay.
To start, right?
Yep.
Let's get to page 2.
Okay, anybody got any questions on the recording fees, town office? All right, page 3. Any questions?
No. There is one thing. Postage is going from 50 to 55 cents. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, that's why we increased from $5,500 budget to $6,000. Taking in that increase.
Okay. Anything else on page 3?
That's a 9%. Okay.
Yeah. But it's 9%, but it's only a $500
Yeah,
increase.
okay.
Okay. Page 5.
One of the questions that will probably come up at Budget Committee, and we can discuss it here again now, staff development, nothing was spent. It's been on hold because I was told someone was going to take some college courses, so it hasn't been spent. So I've carried that same number forward.
Okay.
Still going to take them?
Allegedly.
Okay. But not in 18?
I'll have to double check.
Okay.
Well, semester's already started, so.
Oh, so likely not 19.
Page 7.
So did our town administrator is going to be getting the same.
Correct.
2.75.
Well, if it gets voted on.
All right.
And so the same thing, town clerk, tax collector, and deputy have been put in for 3, but you want those reduced to 2.75?
That's our recommendation.
Okay.
All right, anything on page 7? Page 9? Page 11. If I go too fast, stop me. Page 13. Any questions on mapping? Okay. Page 15.
15, all these numbers will be adjusted because it's based on what has been submitted within the budget as far as wages. So all the Social Security, Medicare, retirement will all be adjusted based on your final decisions at the end of the day. Health insurance, there was a 10.5% increase. So that number is actually showing in your budget books as 14.8 and 13.4, predominantly because new positions have been included in 2 of the different departments here, and that's where that's reflected.
Okay. Page 17. Page 19. Page 21. I can say this about cemeteries, this isn't now, but down the road, probably within the next few years, they're gonna be looking for more land to bury us all in. And he's got some ideas, and he's gonna bring that up before the selectmen, probably at the next meeting or the meeting after. 23.
departments, please.
Okay, police department. Okay, we have, I guess, some extenuating circumstances here for the police department. And that is that they have done a survey in the general area with like positions in the police department. And our police chief would like to bring our officers, apparently we are below that level, and would like to bring our officers up to that level so that we don't lose officers to other PDs. And I don't know if you read in the Sunday paper last Sunday, but there was an article about getting awfully hard to hire good police officers nowadays. So she's looking for an exception this 1 year to bring the officers up to the standards in the like surrounding communities. If you'd like any more information about it, she's right here and be glad to.
I would be. I mean, I specifically did the research because the couple of officers started getting recruited, thinking that we would come in at least at the average. And pretty surprised when we came in under the average, not only for the Seacoast, but for the county and for the entire state, which north of us, they get paid peanuts. So to have that offset, so it really opened my eyes, and I think that they're pretty happy. But if someplace, one of the towns touching us can pay them, $5,000 more, I couldn't blame them for leaving. So I just want to bring them up to the average, not to 60% or 70%, but just the average of the area. And at least that way I can try and offset the rest with, motor officer or training or, good, good environment to work in and great community that you're supported in. So that's what I would like.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, even currently, Stratham's hiring. Obviously, Rye is hiring, but they have some issues right now. Exeter's hiring. I think Newington's up to full staff for about 2 seconds. But I'm worried. Because we have such experienced and senior people. So that's why I'm requesting something different this year.
And being the liaison to the police department, I know, in fact, I know them all. I know all the police officers, and I talk to them on an individual basis, and they love working for this town. Don't get me wrong. None of them are threatening this or threatening that.
No.
But they just, would be fair, and I can't disagree with them to do what we did at one time with the administrative employees here, to try to bring them up to snuff with surrounding towns.
Right.
I still don't think they're up to snuff, but I think we did a good job in doing what we did, so.
Right. If we stay at the average, at least I feel like I can, I can add different things to pony up.
I don't think there's anybody here that would say we don't have good police officers. I think most of us know a lot of them, and they're all town oriented.
They are. Even our 2 newest guys, we're very, very lucky to have found them.
Yeah.
So I know we've always done, since I've been here, it's always been the umbrella. Everybody had the same percentage. I totally get that. If I hadn't done the study, I wouldn't be asking for something different. I don't think that we're more special than the town clerk or Charlotte or anybody. It's just, I don't know how far behind they are or ahead. So the only thing I could do was the study on the police. So they're just the raw numbers that I got. Like I said, I mean, there's some officers you can see that will be getting less than other officers considerably. Some are right on. So I'm not trying to do something different for the police department. I'm just trying to keep my guys.
And it's a one-shot deal. It's not like everybody's gonna get these increases every single year,
Right,
you know? It's
absolutely
just to
not.
bring them up to
I'm
speed.
hoping to get to the average and then what small percentages or COLAs or whatever you guys decide to do in the future, hold them at that average, is my hope.
So I, for one, I mean, I support that. I don't think it's unreasonable. Comments from,
No, I support that this year, but I wouldn't support it in the next 3 to 5 years, again.
I would concur with Chester.
I
In
completely
fairness,
understand.
in fairness.
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
Chip?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the last few articles have basically told that if also can't get them, it's getting tough,
Yeah.
pay scale.
Okay. So the consensus is that we'll go along with Tara's recommendation.
thank you.
Page 29.
The tower, can you refresh me on the building maintenance, the big jump in that?
Yeah, that's that LED lighting thing that
Okay.
Karen got the quote on.
Yeah.
So if the town hall's not gonna do it, was that what came out of that, Karen?
No.
Oh, no?
Each
Still might do it?
building can be independent.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ours is in the budget, but ours is like,
oh, okay.
ours is much
All right.
I actually prefer to see that as a warrant article.
Well, I put that in there only because it was kind of a savings, I guess, over time. I think we
Absolutely.
figured out how many years or whatever.
Pretty quick payback.
So it's, I'll leave that at your discretion. It's really
I
a,
don't think,
And when you have kind of back up a little bit on your officer, resource officer at school, I
Yeah.
definitely recommend, I want to see that as a warrant article. I would argue that.
that's
Go
terrific.
over the face.
If everybody else agrees, I would like to see it
say
there.
that again.
Thank
The
you.
resource
SRO.
officer should be on the warrant, so let the people
take
decide.
the SRO
Yeah.
officer out of the budget and make it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either.
I
Yeah.
don't either.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best way. That way, if they complain about their taxes, we say, you voted for it.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you didn't vote, then I could lily holler at them.
I think that should be out to the people too. Like, is this something that you want? Do you see the value in it? So, yeah.
Okay, page 31. All right, let's move over to the fire department. Page 33. Any questions? Page 35.
Maybe I'm missing page numbers or something, or what happened in here?
No, keep going. Go to
You
fire
need to go
department.
into fire.
Oh, okay.
Go to fire.
Yeah.
Ralph, you go with building pay increases for you guys?
Have I? Not recently, no, because we were going towards the full timers. If I do a step. If someone becomes an A, I'll give them more money. Or we've been medics. We've been bringing them up to 18.
And John, if you have any questions, let me know, all right?
We have paramedics in at 1751.
I think one was in 18 to
That's something, okay.
I thought there was.
It might be.
Okay. Medics on the outside right now, we're making $23 and $24 an hour, just to be part-time medics in an ambulance service. Just so everybody knows that.
Any questions on page 35?
What's the building maintenance? Is that just a flat number? Are there any plans to maintain that building any further?
We did the roof and,
Right.
it really needs to have some windows, but I thought we were gonna wait and see what was gonna happen over there. And
Well,
get
I think that's pretty
through
much
and
been
chip
decided, it ain't gonna be the library.
it. But we also, there was a discussion, Chip and I think, had about the siding, and I thought there was prices being got.
Actually, that's being worked on right now. That would be a warrant article, that'd be totally separate.
That
So
line
basically-
item is, the 4,200, that line item is generally their carpet cleaning, their cleaning supplies,
Yeah.
their janitorial service.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
That was the question you
Yeah,
had,
that's
right?
what I'm looking for. What's
Okay.
up? What's up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Page 37? Let's move on to building and emergency management. Page 39. With me?
I'm getting there, Philip.
2.75.
Yes. Page 41.
We get that back, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Public Works. Page 43.
Vehicle maintenance repairs. I know the backhoe's down again, and that ain't cheap to fix. Is that really enough to cover? So should we really have them take another hard look at that number?
You know, you got a good point there, because you're right, that's not cheap to repair.
That's looking at a pump,
Yeah,
and that thing's got way too many things in it.
what is your, you own a backhoe, don't you? You have-
No, actually, I don't own a backhoe. Couldn't justify it.
Okay, but I mean,
They're expensive to maintain.
Right, and that's under building, under equipment repairs, where there's 3,000 in that budget.
That goes under equipment.
The vehicle is just the
I'd have to
truck
take another look just to see what his repair bill last time was
in
$1,200.
time for the budget committee.
Yeah, in time for the budget, just in case we have the doctor with that.
Okay, but how do you want it forwarded as is right now?
Yeah, we can do that right now, because you don't really, I don't know.
Don't forget, you also got that snow blower that's getting older also.
The skid steer?
Yeah, skid steer and the snow blower, if the snow blower needs maintenance, that could get expensive also.
yeah, okay, all right.
All right, I'll have
What's that,
Paul
Paul,
look at
I
those.
took the,
repairs.
I took the oil out of the transmission, and I have a heart attack when I go pay for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the vehicle maintenance, the one we were just talking at 2,000, that's for the new truck,
Mhm.
and tires for the trailer.
Okay,
Yeah, that's not bonus.
all right, good point, Chip. Page 45. I've got a different, you distinguish this full-time wages thing.
Yep, if you look to, on the right-hand side, the property maintenance supervisor, this includes a 9.74% increase, and then a new position that's full-time at $17 an hour. The new position would be $35,360. And then he had requested 60,000. So you want that at 2.75 as well?
That's 2.75, yeah.
And And again, on the new position, I think that should go to the town.
I do too.
Okay.
Just like my fallback.
Yeah, I
You voted for
don't
it.
have a problem with that.
Right. Mhm.
Other than that,
Okay.
Okay,
hey, I got a question. He's got a tree still to take down. He thinks it's what, $5,000?
I'm not aware of it.
$5,000 to take a tree down?
I think he said 5,000. I can't remember now. I just talked to him quickly. It's down there off of Serenity Cove, at Island. I don't think that's been taken down yet. I don't know if he's waiting to see if he's got the money or what.
I know nothing, sorry. I know that there was a
$5,000
tree
to take
down
tree
there.
down?
Generally, they're about $1,500 for a large tree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what I don't know.
I know that we had a call about a tree in that island in Serenity Cove, but I don't know any of the specific
Can you
details.
just
Yep, I'll ask him about that
ask him
too.
about it, yeah.
I know last I knew he hadn't dropped it yet, but he may have dropped it since I talked to him. But he said it's rather expensive,
Okay.
and I don't know why.
Okay. Page 47. No significant changes in the,
We're gonna do the same with the increase on the wages on the part-time?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
But no significant changes upcoming in the hauling fees or anything like that?
No, it's already been calculated.
Okay. Health and Human Services, page 51. Page 53.
All these people are giving us prices again? Did you say somebody dropped out?
There's one that hasn't collected the issue yet, area home care. So if they don't request by year end, then they get dropped. Because they didn't collect it in 17, and they haven't sent in a letter requesting their funds for 18 as yet.
This is if they basically administer services in the town then.
Right.
Page 55. Page 57. Okay, recreation and culture. Page 59.
This budget shows a large reduction, and that's because that part-time labor position was taken out of here and moved as the full-time under property maintenance, so that'll be the warrant article.
Okay.
If the warrant article doesn't go,
Then that does,
does it fall
position,
back to a part-time laborer?
no,
Or we have to,
no means no.
so we lose the part-time laborer if we don't get a full-time?
If the warrant article were to fail, yes. It might be wise to put some money back in that line.
Yeah, it probably.
Oh, I thought that was wrong.
I know, but that's the way the law
That's the way the
reads.
law reads, yeah.
If the voters are asked for a specific thing and they say no,
Yeah, I don't have
you
any.
cannot find the money somewhere else to do that.
Even though it's already in,
Right now, it's zeroed. So
Well,
I would
because
put
it's
some
zeroed.
money into there.
Yeah, right now it's part-time, and we're asking.
It's part-time, but it's
Right,
at
right, right.
zero.
so I'm saying if we put it on a warrant article and it fails,
Mhm.
so we're not gonna get a full-time guy. That means we can't get a part-time guy?
Not right now, because there's zero
Because
money
it's
in that
zero.
line item.
Well,
If it's
so we could
zero,
put
you
some money in
can't.
the line
That wasn't my
item.
intention by putting it on, we could do that side year round. You can
Okay,
cover
wait a
it that
minute,
way.
Charlotte's not gonna be able to hear this, because there's like 15 people, 5 people.
My intention with the putting it to a warrant article was the full-time employment, not eliminating the part-time, because I do know the
Right.
part-time's needed during the summer.
I want that to be just clear.
That, I don't think anyone's gonna question that.
So my recommendation would be to put the on the warrant article to raise to put the 8,100 back in this budget as the part-time person, to raise and appropriate the amount for the full-time person less the 8,100.
Okay, yeah.
That way it's full-time position with 8,000 is in the budget, that you'd
That's
maintain
fine.
that part-time just in case.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
Good, we got that.
Okay. 61.
You don't review that one.
Okay. And then over to debt services. 65. You just want to run through that quickly, Karen?
Well, it shows that the bond principal that we're requesting was 80,000 in 2018, 230,000 in 19, which is including the first year of the library bond.
Okay. All right, any questions?
And it actually will be a little lower than that. I estimated 150,000 for the bond payment, and according to the schedule, it's 145.
That's fine. Anything else?
So I'll make all these changes for the board and then have a new bottom line. And I'll draft the 2 warrant articles requested.
All right, sounds good.
I'm sorry, can I just ask a question? What's the percentage of increase?
Currently, it's 13.65, but there were major changes made here, so I don't know what it is.
Okay, so what were the major changes? From 3 to 2.9?
Well, some of the major changes were salary.
Right, it's,
Yeah, they go up.
Were big.
some
Yeah,
people,
but that's in.
the budget was scheduled for some people at 1.5, so it increased to 2.75.
Alright.
Some were at 3, and they were reduced to 2.75. One was at 6.9, and it was reduced to 2.75.
Alright, well, just say 14%.
And two full-time positions have been taken out of this budget.
Okay, one thing that, 2 full-time were taken out. What was the amount of the full-time?
30,
the benefits.
35 and 3570 plus the benefits, 70, 120, probably roughly 140,000.
Okay, so we'll just say 10%, it will go up. Right,
I can't do that kind of math in my head, I'm not.
okay. Let me just say, okay, that you're looking at a 10% increase, at least or above. Okay, the school is gonna come out with an increase as well. You're gonna have warrant articles on there, fire department, potentially another bond. Okay, the taxes are going up, okay, significantly. Okay, I think you need to think about that, okay? There was some high increases last year which caused the taxes to go up. And then people are gonna be very upset when they get their tax bill. And if they see a 10% increase or above in this budget, and the school's gonna go up, they went over 8% last year. Okay, I think there's gonna be some very unhappy.
Well, there's also the unreserved fund balance that we have to work with too, so we'll be.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm not willing to use that to lower
Yeah, well,
taxes.
right.
I think if people wanna vote for all this crap, let them see how much it really costs them. Don't, let them see the full
Well,
pay.
for what? I mean, who's voting? The
You're right.
selectmen are voting.
Right.
The selectmen are voting for this budget. The selectmen are voting. The
That's-
people
that's-
don't know what it is yet.
That's
So-
correct, but if they,
The responsibility is with the selectmen to approve this budget, then it goes to the budget committee. People have not voted for this, they voted last year. Okay, I understand that. But, you know, a lot of people who voted against some of this are not gonna be happy when they see the amount of taxes. I'm just saying. When I see this on the budget committee, I think we need to think about where you're gonna potentially reduce, okay? I don't disagree with some of the things that are going on, but I think that you can't have 2 years in a row that you have significant increases like this. So you need to take a look at it very carefully, what you're doing. Okay? And if this is the selectmen's budget, then you're gonna have the school budget. And I'm guessing, based on what I saw, that's gonna be fairly significant as well. So, think about that.
And they have to look at their budget too.
Because because the taxes went up, are going up, they're gonna go up again next year. And you can't say, well, the taxes are going up, so we're gonna increase the salaries to 5%. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It's just gonna be a never-ending Ponzi scheme. That's all it's gonna be. So think about what you may wanna cut.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, okay, your point's taken. All right. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? Good. I will entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Welcome aboard.
No, it's good.
Some of them, and I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get any,
Well, looks like we're
You're here for a long time.
It's gonna be the same.
the town is growing, it's not like it used to be.
Thank you.
No. Get ready for the tax to go up. It's inevitable.
Yeah. Well,
See, when you retire, you can't afford these increases anymore.
feel the retire in Greenland. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
I'm going to bring it up to optimal.
I appreciate you joining me for this evening. I'll pick up the tab. All right.
Just let me know.
Yeah.